crowd begins to roar. High-flying daredevils in a battle like never before. Oh yeah, from the turnbuckle to the mat, the action never stops. Talking wrestling takes you to the top. Oh yeah, feel the energy, the thunder as the crowd begins to roar. High-flying daredevils in a battle like never before. Oh yeah, from the turnbuckle to the mat, the action never stops. Talking wrestling takes you to the top. Oh yeah, talking wrestling, it's a war right from suplexes to body slams. We got it all inside, get ready for excitement, that's on the show. Talking wrestling is ready to throw down. Oh yeah,
Hello and welcome in for another episode of Talking Wrestling. I'm Pondwater Dave. Joined with me as always is the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club, Miss Amy Vaughn. Oh, you're muted, Amy. Professional podcaster.
Right.
That's
here.
all right.
It's only been 2
pulled
years.
That rib on you. We muted you. So.
That's right. I'm sporting totally.
Dang. We just started a minute 55 in and James already gave me up.
Yeah, we're world-class fans, and Joe Blanchard's territory, so 2-on-1 on this time.
But now my wheels are shot off, Amy. I am jealous of the Tully Enterprises t-shirt though. I like it a lot.
It's very
I got
cool.
that for Christmas.
But our special guest tonight, we met him in Iowa at the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame this last year. He is the Impact Pro Wrestling champion, Mr. James Jeffries. How are you tonight, James?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Doing
Wonderful.
great.
It was really cool to meet you. Like I said, we both went to Waterloo this past year, and it was my first year. I'm pretty sure it was your first year, Dave, right?
Yes.
And I mean, what an event, first off. I love it. I cannot wait to go back. And then there was a show. I mean, we got to go to a wrestling show, and that's where we met you.
Yeah, it's it was really cool just getting to meet you guys, and I appreciate you having me on tonight too. It means a lot to me. Anytime somebody asks me to do a podcast, I'm like, oh, I'm like, man, you want to talk to me? That's pretty cool. It's not lost on a guy from Riceville, Iowa, real small town. So.
I apologize that it's taken us this long to get you on. We talked about it last July.
Yeah, no worries at all. Life gets busy, and it was cool, myself and you guys and Troy kind of talking and then checking out some of the artifacts at the museum. And did you guys enjoy your time?
Oh my gosh.
It was so cool. I wish that more people could get that, could see what's not on display.
Yeah.
I mean, I understood the legalities of, not being able to get people down there to see it, but I had the opportunity to take a tour and see just what they had in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when you have an Olympic bronze medal, which, I mean, there's so much cool with the paintings. There was some Leroy Neiman painting down there, if I'm saying his name right, but just walking by and there's an Olympic bronze medal.
Yeah. Yeah. And like so many years we try and display different things, and you're always leaving something out, not on purpose, but it's just, there's so much amateur and professional and MMA in that building, so many awards and medals and you name it, that you just can't display it all. But it's so neat because you're kind of like on a treasure hunt sometimes, like, you're saying there's an Olympic bronze medal. It's a pretty special place.
And a painting of Dusty Rhodes down there.
That was cool.
One of the best paintings. I mean, it's just so cool.
Oh,
And normally when we have wrestlers on, we'll ask, we'll ask, were you a fan prior? I know you were a fan prior. And it's even cooler that I know your fandom is right along the lines of my fandom.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But tell me how you discovered World-Class Championship Wrestling in Iowa.
So for me, I'm 35. So a lot of the world-class wrestling I learned about was later on. So when I was young, I watched wrestling with my dad on TV, and I had one of my wrestling books. It had The Tragedy of the Von Erichs. And it was, I'm like, oh, it's about these brothers that have passed on. So it was just like a page long, and I had pictures, all of them. And I have two brothers, and my brothers and I wrestled in grade school and high school, and my dad would take us to tournaments. So it just kind of struck a chord with me that, hey, here are brothers, the Von Erichs, that wrestle. And me and my brothers wrestle. So I read their story, and then when I was I remembered Kerry vaguely as Texas Tornado, just very little, but like YouTube was starting to come and people were putting matches online. So I got to see a lot of the old world class stuff on YouTube.
Okay.
And I ordered a couple VHSs off of High Spots that they still had in stock. And you learn about like Kabuki and Iceman King Parsons. And, around that time, the Heroes of World Class DVD came out. And I ordered that, and that really taught me a lot of like the behind the scenes of world class, and like just kind of researching them in high school. The wrestling, that territory just kind of reminded me of just a small town, intimate wrestling atmosphere, and it was just really cool. So
from being there, I mean, Sportatorium held 4,500 people, and it was just a barn that was hot in the summertime, cold in the wintertime, leaked when it rained. It stunk like cigarette smoke and French fry grease. Just, I mean, and I say that, and I know I over romanticize it, but the energy that was in that building, it's just the energy.
Yeah.
And I noticed,
I can only imagine. I wish I could have been there. Like I just can only imagine what that felt like. Kind of like what you were talking about, James, about I love going back to Waterloo. And anybody out there, wrestling fan, you need to go. It's just an amazing museum. I love stuff like the Smithsonian, where it's like all these objects, like people touched them, people wore them, and different things like that. And that's all that place is full of. I wanted to get that in because now that WCCW has been mentioned, I'm just going to sit back because I know that is completely Pondwater's wheelhouse. Sounds like it's James's. I'm going to be watching the clock and be like, Pondwater, I got to go to work. It's 9:00, and be like, wrap this up. No.
Well, no, I mean, James, you mentioned that you discovered the Texas Tornado, and I know that Kerry's your favorite.
Yep.
And your ring gear is really based on the Texas Tornado. I mean, presentation.
He looks like the basic. Look at him. He looks like the Texas Tornado.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's a huge compliment. It means a lot to me. And yeah, I basically ripped everything cool that I saw of Kerry's off. Discus punch, the robe, tassels, and I like a lot of the 80s and 90s wrestling. So that was like when I was first wrestling, I'm like, what can I wear? Okay, well, look what Kerry Von Erich wore. Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man. I mean, yeah, I just borrowed his stuff. So
when I saw you use the discus punch, because I didn't know what your ring gear was going to be like when you came out. I could tell. Yeah, he's definitely inspired by Kerry. And then when he did the discus punch, I popped for it. I really did.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad. That's one that I always want to get in, is a discus punch. It's kind of like to do it as a tribute to him, and he really inspired me, just just the way the fans reacted to him, and the way he interacted with fans and all the Von Erich boys and a lot of the world class guys.
So are you saying, James, you make out with the girls when you come through the
No.
I mean, that's what the Von Erichs were doing. If you like
No,
that.
not me. No,
That's their interaction with the fans. No.
I'm not near as pretty as them, and I'm not as suave as they are. But
I think there's some laws too, but it might be more,
yeah,
we'd all get back in those days.
We'd all get in big trouble nowadays. But I thought, man, just watching him wrestle, I just always studied his matches, and he's my hero. So.
What made Kerry stand out to you more than Kevin and David, or even Mike?
I think, oh gosh, I just felt like they all got a huge reaction, but I feel like his was just a little bit bigger of a reaction than the other brothers. And he had more, I feel, of a calmness and but also ready to fight type of a feel to him. So yeah, just something,
Yeah, he was really humble and likable, and I didn't like how he was portrayed in the movie. I thought they did a horrible job on Kerry in the movie. I think they combined Kerry and Chris. Because I'll never believe that Kerry came home and cussed his dad out and took a rat to Mexico instead of spending time with the family. So I didn't like that part. I didn't like the portrayal of Kerry, but I got it. But you're right. He had a charisma. David was my favorite, but I tend to favor heels, and David might have been cheered, but he was a heel. Yeah, there was nothing he ever did in the ring that made you think good guy.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what, too, if I'm not mistaken, I believe for a while Kerry and David were heels in Florida for just a little bit.
Have you seen the video of Kerry trying to be a heel?
I have. Yeah,
it's not. He can't do it.
No.
Bless his heart. I mean, he just wasn't a heel. It was not believable at all. Kevin could, and Fritz definitely could, but Kerry was like a fish out of water trying to be that guy in Florida.
Yeah. I've seen that promo, and I felt like the Von Erichs too. They were just something about them made you want to cheer for them, and like David's fantastic. Like he just. It's so sad, the tragedy gets talked about so much, but can you think of, or can you imagine the matches that he would have had either as a babyface or as a heel if he had have lived?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he would have matched up with Magnum. He'd already wrestled Dusty, but then he could have gone in there and he could have took on any of the Horsemen. He could have took on Barry Windham. I mean, there was nobody that he couldn't.
Yeah. You just take a wrestler out, leave David in, and then insert another one.
Yeah.
And put any one of them in. Macho Man, Hogan, you name it. He'd have been fantastic against them all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I want to circle back. You said you wrestled with your brother. Tell our listeners, because when you say wrestled, immediately everybody's thinking that y'all had a mattress in the garage and y'all were body slamming each other. No, he's talking about legitimate locking up, collegiate style, Olympic style, Greco-Roman wrestling. Explain to our listeners just how big wrestling is in the state of Iowa.
So I'd say it's probably, and I might be biased, but I feel like it's the biggest here in the state of Iowa. Dan Gable's from over in Waterloo, won the 72 Olympics. There's just such a great amateur wrestling history for not just college, but for high school too. You know, like I went and watched my nephews. My older brother Solomon has two boys, Cooper and Carver, that are both in high school. And Cooper made it to state the last 2 years and made it to he got beat out right before finals, but I attended the finals, and Wells Fargo Arena here was sold out for high school wrestling for the finals.
Fair to say that wrestling in Iowa is probably what football is in Texas.
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't feel like I was in a football state when I was in Iowa.
Yep. No,
I mean, I was there for a wrestling event, but I mean, I felt like that Waterloo was the town that Dan Gable built.
Yep.
Is the impression I got. And I felt like there was never a time I felt like I was in a football town.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be a good way to put it. It's a wrestling state. And also too, Waterloo being in the northeastern part of Iowa, there's a lot of good schools around there. Waterloo West, where Dan Gable went to school, Gilbertville, Don Bosco, Osage, Iowa, New Hampton. A lot of these high schools around here have really rich history in high school wrestling, you know, and then like Wartburg College is over that way. They have good wrestling. Dubuque, they have good wrestling. Luther College. I mean, it very much has a feel of a wrestling state.
Definitely.
So at what point did you decide to take your amateur wrestling skills and turn it into a profession?
So I was just always a fan of it, and I wasn't a very good amateur wrestler. Both my brothers were really good, Keith and Solomon. And they had more of a knack for the amateur side. The thing I always enjoyed about amateur wrestling was the different moves and the, you know, conditioning, the technique. And I wasn't a very good amateur, but I loved the camaraderie of amateur wrestling. And just being a wrestling fan my whole life, watching with my dad growing up, you know, the WCW and WWF Monday Night Wars. I was like, I really want to do this, you know? And my dad and mom were always very supportive of that. And, you know, I got lucky and met Baron Von Raschke at an indie show up in Rochester, Minnesota. And he kind of started to get my foot in the door with pro wrestling. So probably a junior, senior in high school, I was like, I really was looking into wanting to do it.
Did he train you, Baron? Is that, or like he just kind of helped you know the right people?
So Baron did not train me, but he helped me know the right people. So basically I asked Baron, I said, hey, I'd like to get into wrestling. Is there anywhere you would recommend? And he said, give me your phone number and your address. And he said, Brad Reinigens has a school here in Minnesota, and I want to put you in touch with him, but I got to get his updated address because he's over in Japan. So he said, you know, don't wait by your phone because it might be a while. And I swear it had to be 2 or 3 weeks later, he called my house.
Wow.
And a job up in Riceville, there's not a ton of jobs because it's a town of about 900 people. But a job for a high school kid, you know, that was pretty good money was picking rock, you know. And so I was out picking rock all day. And when I got home, my mom said, hey, Baron Von Raschke.
Some guy name.
I go, no way. He actually called. She said, yeah. She goes, I wrote his number down. He said to call him back. So I called him back, and he gave me Brad's address and, you know, a way to contact him. And Brad was done training wrestlers. He had just finished his last class, and he had wrapped up doing any more training. So Barron then sent me down to Harley Race's school.
Oh.
And my dad took me down to meet Harley, and Harley was very, very generous with his time and walked me around his school. I was a little small for his school at the time. So he said, hey, you know, if you want to come down and roll in college, or, you know, get up to about 180 pounds, I'll train you. At the time, I was like 119 pounds.
I gotcha.
So, which I understood where he's coming from, you know, because it's, I mean, big man's industry, you know, and you know, he was just very kind. He said, hey, you're welcome down here in the future if you still want to do it. So as time went on, I told Barron, you know, I said, hey, it won't take me until I'm 180 pounds. And, you know, all was good there. But at the Hall of Fame in Waterloo that year, Harley was running a show. So I went down to see Harley again. And T.S. Aggressor, who ended up training me, had wrestled for Harley in the late 90s and the early 2000s. And Algona, where I trained, was like 2 hours from where I live. And they had just done a KIMT TV special on, hey, you know, if you want to be a pro wrestler, you know, come check out our school. Well, Travis, TS, is sitting in the crowd, you know, because it was his ring that Harley was using. They had a good relationship. So it's kind of a long, winding story, but
I'm just like thinking, in my mind, I'm just like, you got to meet Harley Race. Like, he walked you around his school. Like, I'm just, it's almost like little goosebumps a little bit about just how cool that was. And you were like, what, a junior, senior? Is that what you said?
I was a senior when I went down there. I met Barron when I was probably a junior. But when I went down to see Harley, I was about ready to graduate. He showed me around, showed me the picture of him slamming Andre and him hanging out with all these guys and all his awards. And he was so cool. Very nice to me. And, you know, like I said hi to him when I was at the, you know, Hall of Fame weekend, you know, because that's back when he was running the wrestling show.
Right.
And Travis, TS, was sitting up in the crowd. So I went up and I said, hey, you know, I'm interested in being a wrestler. Could I come to your school? And he said, yeah. He said, come check us out. I said, well, how big do you need me to be? And he said, I think you're big enough now. Come on and check us out. So went to the Impact Pro Wrestling School in August of 2007.
Wow.
So you had basically been wrestling half your life.
Yeah. I had been, I think it was 17 years I've been wrestling now.
Well, that answered your question right there, Willie Buck.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
And thanks as always for being with us. We got a lot. Megan Nelson's here. She says hey to James.
Hi, Megan.
Oh, hello. How are you, Megan?
And
she was at Waterloo with us.
Yeah, she was very nice.
T-Weave, Willie. Awesome. Johnny Cass is here. He says hello, James, from Johnny Cass.
He's one of my students. I actually did some coaching here for Impact Pro Wrestling's training school, and he was in one of my classes.
Oh, so, nice.
Same school I went to, I ended up being a coach at. So
how's that? You like doing that?
It's giving back.
I loved it. We're currently not training anybody right now, but I had 5 years to coach aspiring wrestlers, and I loved it, and I feel like it helped my longevity. And it's almost like you get to relive it again, you know, like,
oh, I bet. Yeah.
You get to see them go through the exact same thing you went through, and, you know, be a little part of their story. So, and it's pretty cool watching them succeed and watching their wrestling dreams come true. So
that is cool.
Yeah, I loved it.
So you go to wrestling school in 2007.
Yep.
Do you remember who your first match was with?
Yes, I do. It was with Anthony Draven, who was in the training class before me, and it was in Muscatine, Iowa at the Fiesta Dance Hall. And it's not even there anymore, the Fiesta.
Aw.
Yeah.
You and Anthony Draven have y'all's careers kind of intertwined, didn't it? I want to say I saw his name pop up a lot across the ring from you.
Yep, I wrestled him quite a bit, and then AJ Smooth, his name is also Anthony.
Mhm.
So I wrestled him a lot more than Anthony Draven, but I wrestled both those guys quite a bit. So
Yeah, I was with Willie Buck says Harley Race is one of the best wrestlers ever. Would you believe the first time I ever went to the wrestling matches, Harley Race was on the card, and I had no idea who he was.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I got the day before I went to a wrestling match, I got roped. I mean, you've heard how I tried to con my brother, and my mom wouldn't.
Yep.
She had his back. I mean, I couldn't have told you, other than Carrie, I couldn't have told you which one was Kevin and David.
Right.
But on the undercard, it was
That's
Harley
true.
Race versus King Kong Bundy for the American title on my first show.
well,
I mean, never mind, it was Carrie and Flair. Carrie and Flair 2 out of 3 falls, but there was Harley Race and King Kong Bundy earlier in the card. And so,
yeah, that'd have been a heck of a match. And I mean, yeah, Harley Race, and King Kong Bundy, you just never forget them after you see them. They're just very memorable and great wrestlers.
Was King Kong Bundy, was he still like from Alaska? Like, was he King Kong Bundy or what?
yeah,
Did
he was
go by something
he was
else?
King Kong. He had the head shaved. He was.
Oh, he was. He was.
Oh yeah.
The fisherman from Alaska or
this
whatever.
was
he used to do.
in August, and he had wrestled Fritz's retirement match in July.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, he was full blown nemesis of the Von Erichs. He retired Fritz and won the lost the American title, and since Fritz retired, they gave the American title back to him.
Yeah, he pinned him in the end zone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, the Texas Stadium show from '82 was a lot from '82 was a lot different than the attendance for the one in '84.
I bet. Oh, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, the ring was right outside of the end zone in '82. It was all the way to midfield in '84.
So what you got? I was gonna say, James. So again, 17 years in the business, saying it like that, and you're the champion, right?
Yep.
How long have you been the champion?
So I won the IPW Impact Pro Wrestling Heavyweight title in, oh goodness, I want to say 2022. The end of 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you had a title defense, right, at Waterloo?
I did.
I thought you did.
I wrestled Mr. Wonderful, Rock Riddle.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed that match.
Yes. Okay. Rock Riddle. What a person. What a character. Rock Riddle.
Yes. I asked James Beard how old he was. He told me 106. Do you know that Rock Riddle, you cannot find his birthday anywhere on the internet?
Yeah.
Smart man.
I mean, you can't. And when I saw him, I do a show on our Patreon, World Class Flashback, and we're doing 1983, which I tell everybody is my favorite year of professional wrestling. Rock Riddle shows up as enhancement talent. I just watched him wrestle Kamala.
That's awesome.
And Bruiser Brody ran in and saved him.
But didn't you say he had brown hair? He wasn't.
Yeah, he didn't have blonde hair.
He wasn't bleached yet. Like he wasn't really Rock Riddle, like the one we.
Well, he was built. I mean,
Well, but you know what I mean, like.
But I thought it was so neat
kind of thing.
that I met Rock Riddle, man. In 2008, I met Rock Riddle, and but I never put it together that he had been in world class, and he spent a couple months there, and seeing him against Kamala, I wasn't sure what to expect.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I knew it was going to happen, but he didn't have a chance against Kamala. But
yeah, he's wrestled some of the best. He's wrestled Andre the Giant, and I mean, I enjoyed wrestling against him too. I have a ton of respect for Rock, and and he's very talented. He can talk, he can wrestle. I mean, I was really looking forward to it leading up to it, and I got nothing but fond memories about it. So
I didn't know what to expect from him because he's an elderly man. I mean, like I said, we don't know how old he is, but he was on the Gong Show 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Over 50 years ago. So upper 70s at least, maybe early 80s. But what I'm saying is y'all went, man, where'd y'all go? 20?
Yeah,
25 minutes?
We went like 25 minutes, I think.
I mean, the old man did not embarrass himself.
No,
it was in it very, 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 he gave you all you wanted that night.
Oh yeah. Well, and a lot of it too, he was keeping me down on the ground too. I thought, like, there was a ton of times where I was trying to come up and get a breather and get some air, and it was not happening. He was twisting my arm back behind my head, and I mean, he wasn't messing around. So, and it's always great to be in there with James Beard too. He's been a big supporter of mine for years, and I got a lot of respect for him. Yeah.
Love James Beard.
I do too.
Anytime I get to work a show down here with James Beard, I'm super excited because you get better by working with better people, and there's none better than James Beard.
No, he's fantastic. Greatest official, no disrespect to anybody. Greatest wrestling referee of all time.
You make a strong case for it, for sure.
Yep.
And I think that says a lot, that they think a lot of you to put you in there with I guess, I don't want to be disrespectful, seasoned veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because in 2019, you wrestled B. Brian Blair in his retirement match.
Yes. Yeah, I did. That's a fond memory too, and Brian wrote about it in his book too, about our match. And I was so honored to be in there with him. Both Rock Riddle and Brian Blair. I was just so honored to get to wrestle against both of them. And Brian Blair's the same way too. Like, hey, he's a seasoned veteran, but he's going to bust you in the eye if he has anything to say about it. And he did.
Was this at Waterloo also?
Yes.
I thought so. That's really cool.
You never know what you're going to see at Waterloo.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already announced that David Crockett's going in this year.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Hutchison, who, by the way, is going to be inducted by Adam Copeland. I guess the artist formerly known as Edge, the artist currently known as Cope.
We need to keep all of this. Okay. I love, like I said, this was my first time to go, and I loved it. And I love the small atmosphere of it because, like you said, we're literally standing next to whoever, like we're just walking around the museum and all that stuff. And now you got Adam Copeland coming. I think we just need to keep the DL. We'll all show up. We'll support everybody there.
I'm just saying that
people there. No.
you get to see all these legends.
Oh my gosh.
And it's not like they said, hey, Adam Copeland's coming. Oh, we got to go in and we got to change the website. Now everybody's going to pay $500 to be here.
Right.
No, the Hall of Fame weekend's very affordable.
Yes. Oh, wonderful.
Very affordable. You go to the museum, go to the autograph signings, go to the banquet and the ceremony, and watch the inductions.
Yes.
It's just so incredible.
It really is. Yes.
I've been to WrestleCon. I've been to WrestleCade. I've been to StarCast. I'm telling you, I've been to Wrestle Reunion. But what they did at Waterloo was just, I think it stands out there as one of my most favorite experiences, getting to interact with legends and current talent. And you never know who's going to show up. They're not even booked. I mean, if you look up and there's Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah. And Jazz.
Jazz.
Jazz too.
But I think it's the museum. Like there's something about like the people that want to come there and be at the museum. Like I mean, again, they really like wrestling. You know what I'm saying? Like you can go to other things and get everybody's autograph and just run through the line and stuff. But like, this is you're seeing like that one wall that shows you like how tall and how big everybody is, and you know, and their weight class and all the different artifacts that they have. Like I feel like the wrestlers are like that too. Like they look at it like that. Like they're just walking around with us. They're in the hotel with us. You know, everybody's just having, and they're happy to see, like you said, the people who are getting inducted. Like it's just a huge honor. And
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, it's just really, it's really special. It is very different. It's just very special. So,
And that's a good word to put for it, is special, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you guys feel that way. And it's like a big family reunion of people who just love wrestling. You know, we're all wrestling fans, and it's so intimate, you know. And I mean,
that's a good word, intimate, because it really was. There's not, you know, there's not fireworks. There's not, you know, I mean, it's just like you said, Pondwater. We're sitting there having dinner at the Hall of Fame induction, and you're like, that's, you know, Shelton Benjamin is over there eating, you know, like at a table, and you're just like, well, you know, and you're just like, well, who else am I, you know, and you're looking around because it's like, who else?
And then there's Mr. Briscoe, and you had JBL and James Beard, and
yes,
and there's
just
not
walking around,
and they're not, and there's no velvet rope keeping you away from
Yes,
everybody.
no.
They're there to. Baron von Raschke's just as personable.
Yes, all
you know,
of
people
them.
that I was intimidated by.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's everybody's so approachable, like you're saying, and they want you to come up and say hello. And Baron too. And for as scary as Baron is in the wrestling ring, he's got to be the sweetest human being, one of the sweetest human beings I've ever met. Like they want you to be there and have fun, you know. And like you mentioned, Shelton Benjamin, there was a picture last year of Nikita Koloff and Shelton Benjamin together. And Shelton posted, I think it was on his Instagram. He goes, one of my favorites, Nikita Koloff. I always wanted to meet him. So, I mean, it's got something for everybody, you know.
Exactly.
I think. And I had a really, really great interaction with Bob Roop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like Mr. Roop couldn't believe that I took that Mississippi belt and wanted him to autograph the back of it. He couldn't believe it.
Oh yeah.
And he was, you know, he didn't even have his prices that he was charging for autographs and pictures. And I paid him a lot more than he was asking because he was selling himself short. And I think he's just truly amazed that people still care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think like the three of us and so many others that have attended that weekend, we have such a fondness for people that came before us, people that paved the way, and, you know, wrestlers that we've watched on TV, that I think it makes those events special because it's a genuine happiness to see each other, you know. Like it's cool that you go up and have Bob Roop sign that belt, you know, because he's a legend. He's an absolute legend in wrestling, you know. I mean, it's just, and you never know when you're going to get those opportunities. So
and Barbara Goodish, Bruiser Brody's widow, she can't. It's like it's so good for her to get there and hear people share their memories of Bruiser Brody. Charlie Thez, Lou Thez's wife, she was the same way. When Barbara took my phone and showed her how I display my Thez action figure with a replica of the Thez belt, and she was blown away that people do that.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't realize how far out collectors go with some of this stuff.
Yeah, and I think too, like, and maybe I'm biased because I'm a wrestling fan, but I think wrestling fans are the most loyal fans of all time. Like, we just, hey, if it's cool to us, or we want to meet them and we want to display it, you know, display the cool stuff and the cool memories, just, you know, for us to see in our homes, and they just bring back good memories, you know.
Well, y'all do a great job with that whole presentation, and everybody should
yes.
get to Waterloo and check it out. I drove 12 hours to get there. It was worth every minute.
I drove
I'm
8.
8 hours.
Yeah, I think it was 8 for me.
Yeah, it's a very special building, and you were saying too, like Amy, the museum it's so interactive, and you can look around each corner, and there's different a singlet from Kurt Angle, and then there's Mr. Perfect's wrestling boots, and Dan Gable's Olympic medal. Like it's sometimes it's almost like the best kept secret that I think each year gets out there a little bit more and a little bit more. And
you can't listen to Coach Gable talk about the sport of wrestling and not be ready just to lock up with somebody.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But I'm with you, Amy, that all the sizes that they showed, wrestling is anybody can do it. It's it's for all shapes and sizes. Everybody can do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a special building. It's a special history, that they have there in Waterloo. And, Chad and Troy and Jerry Briscoe and Becca and Coach Jim Miller and Dan Gable, and they do such a fantastic job preserving the history.
Yes.
Well, let's get back to you.
Yes. No.
Let's talk about WWE. I noticed that I saw you at ringside on a conga line.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that your only time at WWE, or have you had other opportunities with them?
That's my only time at WWE. I did a couple of tryouts when OVW was still developmental.
Okay.
So I did a couple of their Labor Day camps that they used to have. You go down, do a workout, wrestle a little tryout match. But that's the only time I got to do anything on WWE TV. And
how did that come to be?
So I filled out a thing for Extra Talent, an email, and sent it to John Cohn, the referee, and I had seen that they were coming to Minneapolis and they were coming to Des Moines. I think they were going to hit Missouri. I just emailed them, and they got back to us and said, "Hey, we'd like you to be Extra Talent." So,
and I'm telling you what, that conga line for Adam Rose that's a who's who. I mean, being in that conga line, you're in great company.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like the Black and Brave wrestling schools here in Iowa as well, over in Davenport. So it was some of their students and then some Impact Pro Wrestling, talent.
Black and Brave is Seth Rollins' school.
Yes.
Yep. And my wife Nicole was in it too. So it was cool, getting to wear like Hawaiian shirts and baggy pants, and
what a great memory to share with your wife.
Yeah. And that was the year before we got married too. So it was, I don't know, that I tell you.
Well, who else is going to do that for?
Yeah.
You're in, kid.
That's right. So does your wife wrestle too?
She does.
Really?
She her wrestling name is Miss Frankie J.
Okay.
And she wrestled Laney Luck at the Hall of Fame this past year.
Okay.
I remember that.
And actually right now, so that night she tore her ACL when she went for an elbow drop off the second. So she's been recuperating. She had ACL and meniscus surgery.
Oh, bless her.
She's off crutches and is still doing physical therapy twice a week. So she just went to the doctor yesterday for like a checkup, and they said everything's looking good. She's on track, and she wants to be back this summer to wrestle again. So,
cool.
Yeah.
That meniscus is hard. That's hard to heal from.
Yeah.
I've I thought I'd be back in 2 weeks, and I was down for 6.
I believe it. I believe it. It does not look fun just observing it from afar. Like,
so how did you two meet? Now I want to know that story. Where did you meet? Like at a wrestling, or like what happened?
Yeah, we actually met at the same wrestling school. We both went to the Impact Pro Wrestling Academy.
Cool. Okay.
I went in 2007, and Nicole started in 2012. So I just met her at a training day class, and I was just there being a tackling dummy for a lot of the new students. So
I thought you were going to say you were the teacher and she was the student.
No.
Extra class.
No, you can't do that no more.
Credit.
No. We met then, and
awesome.
Just started to get to know each other and hit it off. So she's been wonderful. So
how long you been married, did you say?
We got married in 2020, and we started dating in 2012.
Well, hey, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we wish her the best, at least for her healing.
Yeah, I definitely will. And I'll pass that along, and we appreciate all the support that way.
The stretching's essential.
Yeah.
That hamstring, for some reason, my hamstring is still not the same. I mean, I've never been much of one to stretch, and I almost have to stretch daily now.
Did you have a complete tear, or was it a partial?
My meniscus?
Yes.
Oh, it was torn all to hell.
Was it? Okay.
It was described as significant.
Okay. I could not remember if it was a partial or a complete tear. I couldn't remember.
You want to tell everybody what your son's name is?
My son's name is Kerry Von, or I was going to say my son's name. My son's name is Kerry Jean Jeffries. And I took the Kerry and Jean from Kerry Jean Von Erich. So I named him. We named him after Kerry Von Erich.
So he's not old enough yet, though, is he, to watch wrestling? Like I'm assuming how old is he? Shouldn't assume.
He's 3, and he'll see us watching it. He'll go play with his monster trucks, or he'll try and jump on us or stuff like that.
Yeah. Does he get in the ring? Do you let him in the ring?
Yeah.
Like run around?
Yeah.
So fun. So cute.
Taking a picture with him in the ring, and then when we had our school open, he got in there. He was probably not even old enough to walk, but there's a good picture I have of him kind of holding himself up on the ropes.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I love it. Ric Flair. Bless. Oh, my. Yeah. Hey, I know. Well, my husband wanted to name our son Anakin. And I was like, no, I don't care if it kind of sounds cool. We're not naming our child Anakin.
Is he a big Star Wars fan?
Oh, Lord, yes. But number one, nobody's going to know that. Like, I'm going to have to say, that's Darth Vader's real name. I'm going to have to say that every time. They'll be like, Anakin. So
or
I
maybe
understand.
People would just say it's a unique name.
Yeah.
What did you name him then? I cut
Aaron.
you off. Aaron.
No, his name is Aaron.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I can imagine. Well, that's really cool, though. Carrie, that's that's better than Anakin.
I wanted to go ahead and ask him, because Willie Buck was wanting. I guess he missed the first part, and he wanted to know who James's favorite wrestler was. So.
Kerry Von Erich.
Drop that big old clue on him there.
I was going to say, if you don't know now, Willie, we can't help you. Naming your kid after someone, that's pretty fan. That's a fan favorite right there.
Well, James, what do you got going on now?
So, right now, with it being winter, got a few wrestling shows here and there. I got one in Chanhassen, Minnesota for MIW Wrestling this Saturday at 8. Up at the American Legion. And then I have another show for Absolute Pro Wrestling over in Waterloo, actually, next weekend. So got a few shows here and there. But other than that, just kind of hanging out with Nicole and Carrie and enjoying our new house, So
congratulations on that.
Oh, good.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's wrestling's been a lot of fun. I still enjoy it. I enjoy it as much today as I did when I started. And it's, met my beautiful wife, and we got a son named Carrie that is our entire world. And yeah, we're pretty stoked. So
I bet.
Life
Are you
is
going to
good.
try to go ahead and do David create? Like, are you going to try to get them all? Is she down for that or no? Just
the
let's start
three
with
of
Carrie.
us.
Let's start with Carrie, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Actually, it's going to be just the three of us. We've talked about maybe having another one, and Carrie, I think, keeps us plenty busy, and
that's a real easy decision to make when they're three. Well, I think this is good. No, and a boy. Woo.
As father of 5, I think that's a hell of an idea, James.
Yeah, really.
Oh, just wait till you have grandkids.
Oh,
It's even better.
Yeah,
Because you can send them home.
Yeah, you spoil them and send them home.
That's the move right there.
There you go. I'm looking forward to it. I know these last 3 years have been the fastest 3 years of my life. But the best, best 3 years. So
in 3 days, my daughter's going to turn 38.
Very nice.
And next week, her sister will be 35.
Very nice.
So you blink and you'll miss it. And take it in, my friend. Take it in.
I definitely will. Is Tully's your favorite then, Amy?
Well, he's one of them.
I can't believe she hadn't shoehorned Arn in 17 times, especially because he was in the Hall of Fame.
That's true. It's Arn is my favorite. Like, if I have to go, it's Arn, Tully, FTR, like Randy Savage.
The first lady of the Arn Anderson fan club.
I am the first lady of the Arn Anderson fan club.
Very
cool. How could you not love Tully too? I just, like I said, I like them. I like them both. Oh
yeah, absolutely. They're both fantastic, and like the FTR too. They're kind of a throwback, I feel, to a lot of the real good tag teams from that time. And I think too, like guys like Arn and Tully and that era of wrestling. I think it's a special time of wrestling, and I'm so glad we got things like WWE on Peacock and YouTube that you can still watch those moments that you remember watching live when they happened.
Exactly. Or like you didn't get to watch.
Yeah.
You saw Texas Tornado. I remember I'm in between ages between you and Pondwater, but I can remember seeing things and be like, it was like they were brand new wrestlers. Rick Rude, Rick Martel, Kerry Von Erich. You see them on WWF and you're just like, oh, how awesome. One man gang. And then as you get a little bit older, like you said, the internet era, tape trading and that kind of stuff. And you're just like, oh my goodness, you had no idea he was an AWA champion, so I'm sure that's probably the same thing, it just completely opened your eyes to see that, knowing that Dave was there actually in the Sportatorium when getting to see some of that. I don't tell him this very often. It makes me extremely jealous. He knows it does. But
very, very jealous too on my end.
Yes.
I've only been to the site, but we were touching on that earlier. It might have not been the most comfortable building, but it is a special building.
If I could have a ticket to any event at any time through history, I'd go back to Sportatorium.
Exactly. And it's so cool to have that, like Memphis like they have those wrestling buildings. They don't have that no more. Like, cause everything, it's just not synonymous like Sportatorium is. I mean, even though it held other things, I'm sure, or whatever, you think of it as the wrestling, the Richmond Coliseum, like there are just certain things out there that it's wrestling. And like you said, that'll never come back.
There's a difference between a basketball arena and a wrestling building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Multi.
And let's not forget Sportatorium that Willie Nelson played there. Elvis played there.
Right.
I mean, there was more there than just wrestling. So
right, but I'm just saying, it's known as a wrestling building.
you can tell it was built for it.
Yeah,
The way it's set up.
WCCW. Yeah.
And when I watched, you were talking about heroes of world class, watching Kevin walk through the dilapidated sportatorium was heartbreaking. Watching the Iron Claw movie that they recreated the sportatorium just close enough that
Gosh,
hearing Tom Sawyer and seeing the building and the chill bumps. Like, I mean, my Rock didn't have nothing on me with chill bumps. And all that.
Yeah, that's very jealous that you got to be a part of a lot of those cool moments in those, buildings, because in that area of Dallas, there, Reunion Arena and, Will Rogers Coliseum, right?
Yeah. They had the Will Rogers, it was the whole complex. They'd either be in the Coliseum or the auditorium.
Yeah. And I mean,
I saw Kerry and Flair supposedly go to a time limit draw.
Yeah.
In Will Rogers Coliseum.
What do you mean?
It was the one that Flair. It was the one that Flair talks about in his book that Kerry wasn't in good shape, and they were saying that he had 104 fever.
Yep.
Yeah.
When Flair describes that match, I was there, and it was a school night, and our parents let us go, and that's like an hour drive. But Ric Flair and Kerry Von Erich for the title in Fort Worth, and I remember watching the clock when it started, and it went 50 minutes. I mean, it's still.
That's some boomer stuff right there. Let your kids on a school night drive an hour away. That's a boomer. No phone, no nothing. Just no map, no Google map. I mean,
we came with common sense back then.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. But seriously, like that, you don't hear that very often. Yeah, just go.
It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue letting me go to the wrestling matches when I worked at the family store and there was nights I didn't get home till almost midnight and had to go to school the next day.
True.
There you go.
If I can stay out late for work, I got to be able to stay out late for wrestling.
Well, you never know. You probably saw a lot worse at the grocery store than you did at the wrestling.
Oh, without question. Without question. But that's
James,
another story for another time.
You'll have to let him tell you some story, James. It is just...
James, we're going to have to have you back with us again.
Yes.
Thank
right
you.
Before Waterloo.
You ought to come on. You ought to come on one of our world-class flashback episodes and watch some old wrestling with us.
I'd love to. I would love to. I did not know that.
We're going to watch Labor Day Star Wars from 1984 from Fort Worth, because there's not a lot of Fort Worth footage that's intact.
Yeah,
but I've got access to it, and we're going to do an episode and watch the whole thing. It's like an hour 40, but it's the Channel 11 television show as opposed to the syndicated.
I'd love that.
Oh.
I'd love that. When you mentioned it earlier, I didn't realize you did that. A world-class related show. That's we take it week by week, and we're in the middle of 83 now. That's good. That's a good time period, and it's cool that they have a lot of the shows on Peacock. They don't have a lot of the territory, like a lot of the AWA stuff. I think they're really missing a lot of that.
Yeah,
it's really good. But I think they got quite a bit of good world-class stuff. But I'm sure, just like that Fort Worth footage, I'm sure
that's rare. They taped over it every week. So if you don't, it's just people that actually had VCR tapes that have survived, and they got them uploaded or they digitized them. Because all my old wrestling tapes back in 2008, I put them in the VCR, had a DVD burner, and I got everything digitized before it degraded.
Man. Yeah, that's good that you got those things, because I think a lot of that stuff gets lost in time.
You'll never see it in its true form. I mean, even when you watch World Class on Peacock, they're already in the ring because you can't hear Tom Sawyer. You can't hear Rick Rude's Smooth Operator or Sharp Dressed Man. None of that music. You can't hear Freebird.
Yep.
I mean, the first interview they really do with the Freebirds, where they're shooting pool, trying to explain why they slammed the cage and everything. It's Buddy Roberts' first appearance on that. The Freebird was playing in the background originally, but now WWE had to dub over some music, and you can hardly even understand what the birds were saying.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
So when you can have there is a Portland Wrestling Archive, Willie, and it will be coming to the Ram Network.
I think Willie is a patron.
TJ Stevens owns that. He's got the whole hard drive of the Portland footage, and nobody's ever dove into it, and it's coming.
That's pretty cool.
I promise you, it's coming.
Because that's the one I'd heard about when you said they taped over a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't heard that somebody has the footage. I felt like they did that in Portland, was they taped over it each week. But that's good that somebody has.
He's got the library.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it'd definitely be cool.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it just for the Lance Von Erich stuff, because they hired him, sent him to Portland as Ricky Vaughn to learn how to wrestle.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So,
I got Lance's book. You know, my buddy Troy makes fun of me. He goes, you traitor. You know.
Hey, are you familiar with that old Von Erich family album?
I don't.
There's a book. It's the Von Erich's family album. They put them out back in the 80s.
Yep.
And if you can find one now, they're about $300.
I've seen them on
them.
eBay.
Somebody brought one to the wrestling matches and asked me to sign the autograph page. And I'm looking at him like, you want me to sign this? I mean, and they were getting wrestlers on our show to sign. That's where he was getting his autographs in this book on the autograph page. But I'm like, I'm shaking like a dog trying to pass a peach seed, autographing this book, because I know what this book is worth. And my signature's fixing to kill the value significantly.
No, it didn't.
No,
I couldn't believe somebody wanted me to sign that.
That's cool, though.
That's pretty cool. They asked you to sign it. You know,
I'm honored, but man, I think that's the most nervous signing anything I've ever been.
Sure. And World Class holds a special place in your heart, so that's cool. They asked
yeah.
You know, to sign it.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight, James. James, you got a merch store? Or
I don't. I actually, all my merchandise I have at the matches. I just have T-shirts, promo pictures.
Well, where can everybody find you at?
You can find me, James Jeffries, on Facebook, and at The Real J Double on X, and James Jeffries on Instagram.
Real J Double?
Yep, at The Real J Double.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, and I just want to say too, like, I appreciate you having me on your show, and it's been good to talk wrestling tonight, and I've had such a good, fantastic experience with wrestling and the people that I've met in it that I still enjoy today. So I just I'm very thankful and grateful for all of the friends and relationships that I've made through wrestling. And I think some of the best people are in the wrestling world, and 17 years of wrestling with Impact Pro Wrestling and getting to volunteer at the museum. I just got to be a part of so many cool, fun moments that definitely are not lost on me. So.
Well, I'm in my 20th year. This will mark my 20th year, and you're one of my favorite people that I've had the pleasure of meeting. And
thank you.
And you made my visit to Iowa very special.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. You know, it was nice, you know, chatting with you. You know, it's always neat to meet new people through that weekend. And, you know, like, you guys have both, you know, you, Dave, and you, Amy, you have such an affection for wrestling and its history that folks like you are made for weekends like the Hall of Fame weekend and Wrestle
100%.
I just think, like I was saying earlier, going back to the loyal wrestling fans, it was a pleasure getting to chat with you both.
Well, thank you, and we'll definitely invite you back again. We've had a great time, and I'll reach out to you when we get ready to watch that Star Wars. You're welcome to sit in if you want to.
I'd love that.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Oh,
absolutely would. Absolutely.
All right.
Would.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight, James. Best to you and your family.
Thank you. Best to you guys. Take care, and hope to see you soon.
All right.
Take care. James Jeffrey, everybody.
He just got me all excited about Waterloo again.
I know it's killing me that I can't go this year.
Why can't you go?
It's in July.
Okay. What does that mean?
I can't. I don't even think I can make it to Starcast. I don't think I can go to Starcast.
Oh, really?
I got grandkids' birthdays all through July.
And you have mine,
Yeah.
on special too.
Hey, I want to bring the mood down just a little bit.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, unfortunately, we've the wrestling world suffered a couple losses this week, so we have this. Yeah, I wanted to mention that we lost Jax Dane, former NWA world champion. He was only 48 years old, had a heart attack. Black Bart lost his fight with cancer at the age of 77. I didn't know either one of them personally. I did have the opportunity to work with Jax Dane several times. I've got some really good memories of working with Jax Dane. What a quality human being, a locker room leader. I remember we were on a show in Crowley, Texas, and somebody hit a transformer, hit a transformer with their car, knocked all the power out. Jax Dane and Raymond Rowe. Raymond Rowe's one of the Viking Raiders. I don't know if he's Ivar or whatever. I know I call him Raymond Rowe. He's Rowe.
I think he's the one married to the what's her name now? The girl, Sarah Morgan. Right. Isn't that the one Raymond is? I think that's
but anyway, they were on the show and we didn't have any lights. And the crowd illuminated the arena with their phones and their cameras. And Jax Dane rallied the troops and said, these people paid. We're going to go out there and we're going to give them the best possible show we can. So in the dark, it's one of the coolest experiences that I've ever had refereeing a show. Everybody had a great time. It was completely different that having a wrestling match in the dark, but just with cell phones and flashlights. And it was really a neat night. And then we're going to fast forward. I got to count Jax Dane's shoulders to the mat. And from what I'd understood, that was probably like the first time in 2 years he'd been pinned.
Is that for a title match?
It wasn't. He didn't lose title. It was in a tag match. They were setting up a rematch with Charlie Haas.
Okay.
But then we're going to fast forward down to Houma, Louisiana. Jax Dane versus Houston Carson for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. I got the call to be the referee that night. Holding the 10 pounds of gold over my head was a thrill.
Oh my gosh. I bet.
We get to the finish and Houston's cheating. And I'm getting on to him, and Houston backs me up into the corner, and then I go off on him, and I tell him I'm the ref and this, that, and the other. And I actually jumped up on the ropes to get up higher than him. I'm giving him to him. And like I said, dad of 5, I know how to chew an ass. So anyway, after I give Houston Carson this ass chewing about that I'm the boss, what I say goes in here, he grabs me, pulls me off, slams me into the corner. I'm down. I'm calling for the DQ. The whole thing with the belt. Jax gets him. Jax does a whole thing to him. Crowd erupts. I'm getting out to leave to the back, and Jax calls me back into the ring. And he does this whole speech that he's been all over the world defending this belt.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me I was one of the finest referees that he'd ever had the privilege to work with. Now,
Aww.
hey, he's working. He's
Of
working.
course. Yeah.
I'm probably not the finest referee that he ever worked with. But the fact that in Houma, Louisiana, where everybody still believes,
Mm-hmm.
but just the fact that he didn't have to call me back in the ring and
Exactly.
say those nice things to me in front of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got to the back, he came up to me and said, "That was great." He said, "That's when it ended, because after you blew up on Houston, there was nothing I could do.
Mm-hmm.
It was the crowd was there. There's nothing he could have done after that." And I got my props from the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, someone that I've seen lead a locker room. He doesn't have to do that, because at the end of the day, I'm just a ref. But he made my experience in his title match, and I've met him, and I saw him at WrestleCade after that, and he had all the time in the world for me and treated me. I mean, just treated me so well. And I saw that he got married. He got married, has a great relationship with stepson. He's always posting when he goes home to the farm with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
The man just seems so happy. And to be struck down at such a young age is such a tragedy to such a good person. And my prayers, thoughts and prayers are out to his family. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for the human being, not and it's just and I feel so blessed that I got to meet him and work with him. And Black Bart, let me tell you, when Black Bart was a world-class heavyweight champion, he shows up that he won it in California after Rick Rude left. I couldn't stand Black Bart. Didn't stand Black Bart when he was in Crockett as the national champion of the Mid-Atlantic and dadgum this and dadgum that. And I mean, he did a very good job of being a very, very hateable heel. He was so good in the ring. He knew he had a good spot on the card. He was good at it. He was very, very good professional wrestler. And I met him in 2014. And the funniest, nicest man. I had the opportunity to work on a show where he was not in the ring. He was managing. He managed a wrestler, and just getting to participate on a card with Black Bart. And I've been lucky enough that the heels of my childhood, getting to work with them and cross paths with them as adults. And you just don't ever hear anybody that knows him say anything bad about him. And getting to see just how great of a person he was, and just the interactions and cancer's terrible. Cancer's so terrible, and he went home. He done all he could do with treatment, and he went home, and he didn't suffer too long. And I know that left a void with his family and his wife, and I think 77 is too young. But cancer is horrible, and these legends are they're leaving us. And so if you have the opportunity to meet someone that you hated as a child, whether you hated them or you loved them, appreciate what they did for you, and go tell them, because they appreciate hearing it from you. And you won't go back and say, "Man, I wish I could have done it." I was listening to my friend Lance Peterson talk on the Book in the Territory. He does a world-class podcast, and the World Lance Cast, and he was talking about he never had the opportunity to see Andre the Giant. And he take those opportunities when you have them. So but it sounds so cliche, but it is thoughts and prayers for their families. Because, I mean, Jack Stain's family and Black Bart's family, they're just big holes have been left. And you know, I know so many people in the wrestling business that love Jack Stain. Never heard a bad word about him. And I've heard so much good stuff. Black Bart, you know, since he's been around for autographs and stuff, because he found the second, you know, he got a second life in making these autograph shows and reunion shows and stuff like that. And anyway, I just wanted to mention that tonight. And
Definitely.
And now we're going to lighten it up a little bit. Amy, have you ever wondered what you would look like as a WWF referee, as a WWF superstar?
Maybe. Every day of my life. No. I can do that. Oh, that's fun. I like it. I mean, man, I bet Stephanie likes that too.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna take this picture to the barber and say, I'm gonna cultivate this look.
I think you should.
And then I'll have it from the chin up, because to get that body, I'd have to exercise and eat like crazy, and that would require a lot of work, and I just can't see me doing it. But
no, man, that's like I said.
And look at Amy looking.
I know.
Looking
at
like
me.
She's good, like she's fixing a challenge for the WWF Women's Intercontinental Championship.
I mean, exactly. I look young. Like I look like I could kick some butt. I like that.
Isn't AI great?
AI is great. I mean, I'm like you. I need to keep this. I need to put that on my wall. It might tell my grandkids.
I'll send it to you
in my younger days.
I'll send you the video. I'll send you that video and everything.
Yes.
Billy Sellers is with us. Yeah, Billy, I did watch Raw Monday night, and I enjoyed it. And I was really shocked that it was over 30 minutes earlier than I anticipated it. I think I'm going to like that on Netflix. I think Penta's match was the best match I've ever seen Penta have. Did not know that Penta could speak English.
I didn't think I did either.
I've never heard him cut a promo.
I don't think I did.
He's always had a mouthpiece. Or he spoke Spanish, and
or he had a, somebody.
And the other guy would translate.
That's hilarious. Yes, I thought that was great. I did. You're right. That was the worst kept secret. Very happy for him. He seemed ecstatic. Again, that's what we love about wrestling. Like you're watching someone live their dream, and I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, and he's going to be a champion. And when he's a champion, maybe he'll get his belt, if he's lucky, from Big Time Belts.
Yeah.
Big Time Belts, Facebook.com. The North American Heavyweight Champion got his belt from Big Time Belts.
I like that.
Look there, the Russell L. Chew, the Hair King Guru.
That's who you need to go to, Dave, to get your do going. The Hair King, the Hair Guru.
Oh man, we need to film that.
What?
Go down there and I'll get a haircut, and maybe he'll let me hold the belt while I'm getting my haircut.
100%.
And
we hope they're still married. No.
Getting married, get a belt to commemorate the occasion.
That's kind of cool.
The AMW Tag Team Wrestling Champion, Tim Robinson's making his belt dreams come true. He recently got a replica of the Winged Eagle that he's always wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Bootleg version, but still, it was his belt dream. And I'm not disparaging it. I tend not to promote that part of the overseas belt business, but it is what it is. But he got all of his AMW belts.
Ooh.
I wanted to bring this one back this week. PCW, Palmetto Championship Wrestling's Heavyweight Championship. I've looked at the detail, and
it is stunning.
I wanted to show that because the game event belt is going on leather as we speak.
Oh, is it?
I cannot wait to unveil it. We're going to have effort on prior to the game event in Huntsville, Alabama. we're gonna have a world premiere of his belt, and I'm so super excited that he went and got high quality at a low affordable price. Big Time Belts, Facebook.com, and we want to thank him for not only sponsoring our show, but sponsoring the Ram Network's fantasy football. That I'm going to bring this belt to Huntsville and give it to Amy so she can present it to Timmy C and tell him to go F himself.
Well, I'll probably have
37
to take it
times.
to 37. Okay. I'll make sure I do that.
I'm not
at
a
his
good
work.
loser. I'm not a good loser.
Well, it looks so nice up there. I know. I understand.
And we're up against the clock because Amy's got mama duty to do shortly. So without further ado,
it's time for Amy's trivia. Think you have the facts? Let's play and see.
Well, alrighty. Well, I was going to tell you that we are in Royal Rumble season, so we are just going to roll right on in, and all our trivia will be about Royal Rumble. So, Billy, as you were talking about, I watched Raw, and so did Pondwater, and they just happened to mention on Raw, what year did San Jose host a Royal Rumble? As mentioned on the most recent Monday Night Raw. Because they were in San Jose for Raw, but they mentioned what year did San Jose host a Royal Rumble?
I was not paying attention. But I'm going to guess that it was in the year 2000.
In the year 2000. Do you remember that from
from Conan O'Brien?
That's great. Well, actually,
Willie Thornbrew says it was 98.
And Willie is right on cue. It is
Willie
1998. Willie was paying attention.
Where does the Royal Rumble rank for you as far as the cornerstone pillar events, PLEs, pay-per-views, whatever you want to call it?
Number one, I enjoy that.
Your favorite?
It is my absolute favorite.
Mine
I was
too.
lucky enough. I don't remember what year when it was in St. Louis when we went. Was it in St. Louis? Yes. It was in January. Well, duh, it was in January. What an idiot I am. Maybe 2021. I'm trying to think of when I got to go to the Royal Rumble for the first time when it was in St. Louis. The FFP crew had a suite, and Conrad, Jeff, Jarrett, and Eric had like a thing beforehand, like where you could ask. I don't know what it's called. Like you ask them questions, kind of thing. They had like a little event, and but it's my absolute favorite.
Yeah, has FFP announced
No,
the changes? Okay, then I'm not going to spill the beans on that.
no, I have no. I do not believe
they've been on hiatus. They're coming back, so
they are.
But it's their announcement to make. So
yes, but yeah, I did something about the
I went
Royal
to
Rumble.
the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, Texas. I think it was 2006. It was the one where Cena wrestled Umaga, and the ring and the ropes broke.
Yeah. Is that the only one you've been to?
Yes.
Isn't it cool? So
who won that 30-man Royal Rumble in San Jose?
In San Jose in 1998.
Oh, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, you say it just like that's so true.
I feel like it is.
It is true.
You didn't let anybody in the chat guess, Amy.
Oh, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry because, like you said, I'm very sorry, chat people.
Yeah, I told y'all. Now y'all know.
Yeah, exactly. Now everybody's going to put A. Everybody put A. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Go ahead, Willie Buckler. I'm watching. All right. Hey, guess what I did?
What?
You remember I told y'all last week that I was going to be in Fountain Hill, Arkansas on Saturday?
Yeah.
I got that close to being in Fountain Hill, Arkansas on Saturday, and nobody else was going to be there. It's not until the 25th. I just happened to be talking to Muhammad Zubair and Lilburn, a guy named Lilburn that's sponsors BIW. He's he's doing some business with Zubair,
Yeah.
and I'm in the chat because I'm helping him. You know, we're making sure
Sure.
everything is like it needs to be, getting the artwork for this particular belt done, and I mentioned, I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll look at that belt tonight at the arena. And then he sends me a different message. He goes, am I missing wrestling tonight? I said, yeah, we're in Fountain Hill. He said, I don't think we're in Fountain Hill to the 25th. And I looked and he was right. If I hadn't talked to him, I mean, I was packed.
Oh,
Had my ice chest loaded. I was on my way. And if I drove 3 hours and got there and nobody was there.
You can only be mad at yourself, though.
I know. That's the worst.
That's the worst.
I hate being mad at me. I had to listen to Stephanie talk about all that gas money to drive 3 hours.
Oh my gosh. Was she going with you?
No, she had basketball.
Oh, so oh yeah. Oh my bad.
You leave it. I said, I'm not. I don't have wrestling tonight.
So at that Royal Rumble, who had the most eliminations during that 30-man Royal
The guy on the second row that drank 27 beers and 3 orders of nachos.
Ugh.
Oh, not that kind of elimination?
Not that kind of elimination. You know, the ones that the Royal Rumble match actually had.
I'm going to say it was Undertaker, but I want to say Kane because Kane was still pretty new, I think, and he might have been showing out that night.
Well, for our fans who may listen, your choices are Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Kane, or Triple H. Who do you think had the most eliminations during
Willie Buck thinks it's
30
Stone
man?
Cold Steve Austin. I think it was Kane. I'm going to see Kane.
Willie Buck is correct. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin with 7.
Look at you go, Willie.
Yes. Yes, Stone Cold had not only did he win, but he had the most eliminations. He with 7. And that was quite a bit. I mean, I think the next person was 3, you know, so I mean, he had quite a bit.
Stone Cold just don't strike. I mean, I'm not saying it's not disparaging, but he's just not the body style that I would think that would just be throwing people out left and right.
Right.
You think one of the monsters that would do that.
Right, exactly. But no, and you know, I guess that was more of a, you know, I'm here to kick ass kind of thing. I don't know. Which Nation of Domination member was the last one to enter this Royal Rumble? Was it Mark Henry, D'Lo Brown, The Rock, or Farouk?
I think it was The Rock.
I don't remember if he was The Rock or Rocky Maivia. I think he was The Rock.
If he was in the Nation of Domination, he was The Rock.
Okay. Yes, you're right. Yes.
And speaking of Farouk, I just saw an email that Mattel Elites has a Ron Simmons action figure with the headband and the WCW belt.
Oh, how
Shout out to Dave and the HSV. I know he cannot wait to acquire that. Willie's saying it was Mark Henry. I'm saying it was The Rock.
Both of y'all are incorrect.
Oh.
It was Farouk.
Well, Farouk, you too.
7. Oh, but you know, speaking of Waterloo, Farouk or Ron Simmons is going into the Hall of Fame.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. Who did Stone Cold eliminate to win the Royal Rumble? Was it Dude Love, Farouk, The Rock, or Mark Henry? Willie.
I'm going to say it was. Man, I want to say it was The Rock.
You want to say it? Or are you going to say it?
It was The Rock, if you smell what I'm cooking.
Anybody
in the chat? Anybody? Bueller.
I smell what you're cooking, Dave, and you are correct. It was The Rock. Da, 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 da. Now, I think this next question's fill in the blank.
All right.
So when Stone Cold won this 1998 Royal Rumble, he became the 3rd wrestler to win back-to-back Royal Rumbles. Name the other 2 wrestlers that were Royal Rumble winners 2 years in a row.
When Stone Cold won the 1998 Rumble.
So he won 97, 98, back to back. And there were two others that had, excuse me. And he became the third. Who were the first two?
Prior to 1998, there was back-to-back winners.
Mm-hmm.
Willie says Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels. I'm going to say Shawn Michaels and man, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker.
Oh, sorry. Shawn Michaels is correct. And Willie is correct because it was Hulk Hogan.
Oh, wow.
90-91. And then Shawn Michaels was 95-96.
Great job.
Yes, very good. I think that's kind of interesting. Shawn Michaels won 95-96. They turned around and let Stone Cold do it 97-98. You know, and so I don't know. I thought that was interesting. He didn't win 99, but won 2000, right?
I think the reason that the Royal Rumble is my favorite is the element of surprise.
Definitely.
Like when the last time when the Hurricane showed up.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I freaking lost it. You think we're gonna get Masha Slamovic this year in the Women's Rumble? She was sitting ringside at NXT last night with the TNA Women's Championship on her shoulder.
I mean, I don't see why not. We saw Jordan Grace. I think that's cool.
I think Jordan Grace is probably going to make an appearance on Raw Monday night in Dallas. I'm just guessing. Because she's going to make an appearance Sunday night at TNA Genesis versus Tessa Blanchard at the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas.
Yes.
And if her time with TNA is coming to an end, I would not be surprised if she's not out there in mommy's face Monday night.
That would be a good, that would be a good competitor. I mean,
I was thinking Charlotte, but Charlotte's on the SmackDown roster.
And I did see Charlotte was also at NXT backstage.
Oh, was she?
Mm-hmm. I saw some photos.
Well.
I mean, and plus too, if Jordan Grace is, maybe going to show up in the Royal Rumble, it would be good to see her in the week or two before.
I don't think she's going to be a surprise in the Rumble. I think she's going to be a new addition to the roster. I'm just guessing. I don't know anything. It makes sense to me.
Right. Yeah. Oh no, definitely for Time's Up. I mean, why would
But I'm super excited to see Masha Slamovic. I'm so impressed with Masha Slamovic. I got to referee for her at Black Label Pro.
Mm-hmm.
And
it
was an intergender match, and you know how I feel about those, but I didn't feel that bad about that one. Nothing in that match seemed unbelievable or ridiculous. The guy she wrestled was, they were sized up pretty close, and everything they did was believable. And I'm so impressed with her.
You can't say what I just sent, but you can read it, but you can't say it. I wonder, what do you think? Does she come? No shit.
They wasn't there 2 years ago.
But do you think Charlotte isn't good? I mean, is she healed? I don't know that much.
I don't know.
She was there. I mean, I think that would be a great time for her to come back. Maybe. What do you think about even like the Man? What do you think? A surprise entry. I'm with you though. I love the fact that there's surprises, and I love the fact that you're going to see 30 wrestlers. Like,
I just need surprises because last year they were really light on surprises.
Yeah.
I mean, last year's was for that aspect of it. Last year's Royal Rumble was pretty underwhelming.
Mm-hmm. But I do like seeing matchups that you don't normally see, because again, now I tell you what, boys and girls, back in the day, they used to actually show them cracking open a ball and telling them their number, and you got to see that. I think that's kind of fun, like seeing them and their faces of like, oh man, the number or whatever. Ooh, I got a good one. It's just, I don't know.
I
It's
know
something
they
about that
can't.
presentation.
I know that they plan it out, they plan it out, but how cool would it be if they actually legitimately spun a wheel?
Oh, that would be so cool.
And that they like everybody would spin the wheel and
Make a deal.
yeah, and then run to the ring, and then you just it is what it is.
Yes. No, I'm with
I mean,
you. I
it's
just think that's
intricate,
so cool.
the storytelling to go to WrestleMania.
Yes. Yes. I don't know, but I'm with you. That is one of my favorites for so many reasons. The ones we've talked about today.
All right, everybody. TNA Top 10, Terry Weaver and Andrew Hermes, along with Allison Faye. They do a very, very entertaining show. They'll do wrestling and pretty much they'll just kind of about what's going on, and then they'll review some wrestling, and then they'll do a top 10 list. Favorite things to do on a snow day was this week's top 10 list.
Right. Did you the winner, the number one thing was on my list, but it wasn't number one. I didn't know. What did you you like?
I hadn't listened to it yet, so don't spoil it. But it got number one for me.
No, I won't. No, I'm not going to tell you. But I was just kind of like,
I've got it in queue.
Got some interesting things.
Willie Buck, I do not have any wrestling going on this weekend. I will be in Fountain Hill, Arkansas on January 25th.
Sure you will.
I'm 100% positive that I will make Fountain Hill on January 25th.
You're going to go every weekend until it happens, right? No.
And then I'll be in Taylorsville, Mississippi for Lost Art of Wrestling, February 21st.
Oh, cool. I like Lost Art. I mean, they've got some good guys there.
They do.
We've talked to them too.
But I'm really excited about being in the Top Guy Rumble.
Oh my gosh.
For Top Guy Rumble in Huntsville, Alabama. If you're not a member of Ad Free Shows in the Top Guy tier, you will not be there for it. It's a private event.
I'm thinking I might bring my red dress. I might manage again. It was a great time. Oh, I loved it.
I'm super excited about it. And
Me too.
And we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We've had a great time. Thank you, James Jeffries, for joining us.
Yes, how cool. And consider going to Waterloo. It's July, I think, 19th or the 21st. If you're a wrestling fan that enjoys the history, this is a must-see. And the town is just, I don't know, it's like they just expect wrestlers and wrestling. Like, it was a great little town. Our hotel was great. It's
almost like a city it's like a city with a small town feel. Like a small town that you just have a model train going around.
Yeah.
The cafe was great.
Yes. Oh, but that one place that was open 6 to 2. It was like, what was it called? It was Grandma's something. Restaurant. It was so good.
It was really good. I ate there multiple times.
And then, like you said, we're literally walking with Gerald Briscoe from the hotel to the to the museum.
Yeah.
And he's just so happy you're here. It just, and the museum is spectacular. It just is. I highly encourage everyone to go. We were like you, Dave. I wasn't for sure because we had a family trip at the end of June. And I was like, oh, I hate to, I don't think we can go this year. But now I'm like, oh my God, Adam Copeland's going to be there. This is, James just really lit that fire. So
I really wanted to go for David Crockett.
Yes, David Crockett's going to be there. Like, I am just like dying.
But that's also, if it's the 19th, that's the same weekend as All In and StarCast.
I thought that was the 12th.
I think you're right.
I think that is the 12th.
Yeah, because my granddaughter's birthday is the 13th.
Darn, and it's in Dallas too. Like, you couldn't just shimmy on over.
No, my granddaughter's here.
Oh, okay. Darn. Okay. Oh well. You can watch it on TV.
But my grandson's, there's so many birthdays in July. Well, all right. Want to thank everybody again. Thank everybody for joining us. We'll be back again next Wednesday. We will be back on Wednesday again next week for the next episode of Talking Wrestling with Pondwater and Amy. For Amy Vaughn, I'm Pondwater Dave, and we will see you next week.